Hi everyone. Our book for today is Taking Off. It was written, the author is Hello English, illustrator Thea Nicole Declerc. Now let's read. You can see a man, and this is probably his daughter. He looks like a scientist or maybe an inventor because he has this funny thing on his head. I can't wait to find out what it's about. So let's find out. They might be scientists. Right. Okay, so let's move on. So this story is about a scientist called Simon and his daughter Sandra, and they design things that can fly. Simon designs a flying hat and a pair of flying shoes for his daughter Sandra. While we're reading the story, we're going to come across some new words. New words are also called unfamiliar words. One of them is fixed. Fixed means to repair something. And for example, the skilled scientist fixed the flying hat. Another word we'll come across is improved. And that means to make something better. The shoes were improved and they finally worked. The third word we will come across that we don't know already is higher. The shoes could bounce much higher than before. Our fourth word is further. That means to go far, to go beyond where we are now, to move one step, two step, three step going forward. The hat took the scientists further than before. So let's read. This is the scientist, and this is his flying thing. There was once a scientist called Simon. He designed things that could make people fly. One day, he invented a flying cap. So this looks like a flying cap, and you put it on your head. His daughter, Sandra, was just as smart as he was, maybe even smarter. She had an idea for some flying shoes. This is Sandra, really smart Sandra, and she was thinking about what she could invent as well. And she thought, oh, I could make flying shoes. So let's find out how Sandra makes her flying shoes. This is the scientist, Simon, and his daughter, Sandra. The shoes didn't work, but Simon took Sandra on his flight with his working hat. So when Sandra made the shoes, at first they didn't work, so she couldn't fly with them. But because her daddy Simon could fly, he carried her and he flew all over the place. Right? This looks like they're in the sky, because I can see clouds and birds. So, and Simon fixed Sandra's shoes, and she could bounce higher and higher. These are Sandra's shoes, and they look like they can bounce. So when Sandra first made them, she couldn't fly with them. And then her daddy helped her, and then he fixed something in it, and her shoes could bounce, so she could go higher. So she's bouncing in this picture. Simon made an upgrade for Sandra's shoes as a birthday present. She was so happy. An upgrade means to make something better. So Simon is giving his daughter, Sandra, a birthday present. And the birthday present is an upgrade to her shoes. So that means there's probably a pair of shoes in this present, and we're going to find out. Can you see all her colorful balloons? Yes. She was finally ready to jump. So that means that her daddy gave her a birthday present that which were shoes that could fly. The biggest test of her shoes. How could she go? Simon kept flying higher and higher with his improved heart, which means his heart was doing so much better. And Sandra kept reaching higher and higher with her better shoes. So this is Sandra going up and up into the sky. Even the pet fish found a way to get into the sky. Wow, it looks like the pet fish is flying with a flying balloon, a hot air balloon. That means everybody in this book is flying. Wow. The shoes were so good that Sandra made it to space. Oh, wow, that is really high. Flipping and turning and performing flips. So she wasn't just flying, she was flipping and doing back flips and all kinds of flips. Flip means to turn around. So she's in space now. She made it to space because of her flying shoes, which tells us that inventions are great. And she took her father on a space flight. So her daddy and her Sandra and her daddy are in space. I can see stars. I can see planets. And why is there something like a cat in space? He also seems to have bouncy shoes. Wow, this space looks interesting. I would like to go and check it out. The goldfish landed safely when the balloons popped. Remember that the goldfish was flying in a hot air balloon. So when the balloon pops, that means when something pricks the balloon, the air comes out of the balloon. So the fish landed safely when the balloon pops, landed back on the ground safely. And Sandra and Simon worked on a hat that could fly them even further to the moon. So they just wanted to keep going and going higher and higher. And they kept on working further and further to improve their invention. An invention can only get better if you keep working on it, you keep changing things to improve it. So even when we are building things with Lego, you keep changing, you keep changing something, moving, twisting, and turning until you get a better invention. Okay? So we're going to go on to the questions in the book. Okay, no, we're not there yet. So Sandra, oh no, we went up, sorry. Let's keep going. Okay, so we are at where they're making more inventions, and the last page is our questions. So these are questions from the book, and I want you to see if you can answer them. What does Simon is Sandra's daddy, what does he give her for her birthday? Do you remember? It was wrapped like a present. Can you think about it? Okay, so tell mommy or daddy what Simon gave Sandra for her birthday. Our next question is, how high did Sandra bounce? Did she get up to the moon? Did she get up to space? Did she just go a bit high? Okay, so when you answer that, you can tell, when you think about that question, you can give the answer to mom or dad. Also, you can go back and read about to page 12 and read about the pet fly fish. That was here. Remember that our pet fly fish was in a hot air balloon flying in the sky. Have you ever seen a flying fish? That's an interesting sight. So we also were asked, what tricks did Sandra perform in space? Do you remember? Let's go back to the picture where Sandra was in space and let's see what trick she performed. Can you see? Can you see that she's upside down? Remember that I said she was flipping, she was turning, she was performing flips. So those were the tricks she performed in space. And I think the last question is, what is Simon's next project? Can you tell? This is Simon, Sandra's daddy. What is his next project? He's making a hat that could make them fly even further. I love their hair. It's blue, and he has these nice goggles on his head. I will call those thinking goggles. And his eyebrow are blue as well. Oh wow, such an interesting picture. So I'm going to ask you one question now. If you could invent something, what would it be? Something you can build with Play-Doh, with sand, with building blocks, or even something you can draw or you can make with cardboard or paper. What would it be? Can you think of something you can invent so that you will be a great scientist like Sandra's daddy? So think about that. Tell mommy about it, and mommy can decide to tell Bookworm about your new invention. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you for listening.